What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Catherine Yancey. Welcome to K.T.Y Live on Disco 100 Radio. If you have not already subscribed, subscribe. We have a special guest in the studio today. This pretty young lady next to me is Kimion. All right, we're gonna speak into the mic, Kimion. Make sure they can
Sorry.
see.
Hi,
Oh, you're good. Okay. So, Kimion is very bold, very transparent. If you follow her online, you know that she has a transparency about her that most people don't. She is musically gifted and she's a cosmetologist. I know her from school because I'm a cosmetologist as well. It looks like my mask is really crooked, which is why I don't know which way to go. There you go, I think. Okay. So anyhow, how you doing today, Kimia?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us today. You were supposed to join us a couple of weeks ago, but
Yes.
there was a little incident where someone overslept, but it's all
Someone
good.
was over excited. I was so excited that 5 minutes before.
Right. She called me immediately after the show and she was like, I'm already dressed and I'm up the street. Like I can really be there like right now. I was like, it's okay, Kim Young, the show is over. Like everything happens how it's supposed to happen. We ended up having a great talk that day. And so it's all good.
Yeah.
Everything happens exactly how it's supposed to happen. So glad to have you here with us today. Of course, our subject matter is I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
This is where we're trying to normalize the conversation around abuse.
Okay.
So we want to talk about abuse in real time as opposed to waiting years and years later and then the culprit gets to get away with it for years as opposed to being caught now or even deterred from doing it, period, because they
Yeah.
know somebody's going to say something about it. Um, so I asked you on the show because I was on your page and scrolling through your stuff one day. I get caught up on you every now and then. So I was just scrolling through your stuff one day and I heard that you had a song.
Yes.
And like I said, Kim Young is an artist. So she releases songs pretty frequently. She's a great writer. You write your own stuff.
Yes. Thank you.
And so this song had mentioned that you were abused at a young age.
Yes.
So enlighten everyone what I'm talking about. What's the name of the song?
Okay, so the song is called God. That's the name of the song. And I wrote the song because exactly what you said. I feel like people just don't talk about it enough. And I feel like I'm okay with talking about it because other people been through it. And I had a lot of people, hit me up like the same thing happened to them, but they're not really open with talking about it. So, yeah. So,
okay. So the song was God. And the lyrics were very transparent. The age you mentioned, and the fact that you were abused by a female at a young age was very clear.
Right.
So you didn't tell your mother when you were younger, which was in the song.
No, the whole story.
Right. So I don't know the whole story. So we're gonna break the story down too, because a lot of people believe that as long as their children are with a female, then they are safe.
Exactly.
And that is not necessarily the case. And the same thing goes for young men, young boys. Just because you have a little boy doesn't mean that they're safe from abuse either in the hands of anyone.
Yeah.
So anyone can be abused, the abuser, which is why we have this platform to say, yo, there is no look. It's like a disease. Anybody can have a disease and there's no look to it.
Right.
So anybody can be an abuser and there's no look to it. So break down the age for us and how old are you now? Let's go there.
I'm 22. I'll be 23 on the first next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't be sorry. Okay. So you were how old when the incident occurred?
It probably went on to probably 4 all the way up until I was like 7, 8.
Okay.
It
So
was like
go ahead.
Yeah.
It was like
a lot.
so it was consistent.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mentioned in my story of abuse that it was a consistent thing over a period of years as well, and by a family member. So, okay. So, every time I hear these ages, because one of our last guests came on and she remembers her abuse starting when she was 3. She was like, I had a pull up on and I was walking up the stairs trying to hold the wall, and then I got turned into this way to this room when I was supposed to go to that room. That way.
Right.
So she remembered clearly at 3, 4. That means you have probably even a little bit more memory to go along with yours. So what happened?
Um, well, okay. When I was growing up as a young girl, I was the baby out of 4 kids. My mom is a very hard-working person. She's been doing hair since way before I was born because I'm
Yeah,
the baby.
she
And
got them hands.
yeah,
So you got them
yeah.
hands.
And my dad was a very hard worker, but he wasn't really around that much. So, like, at a young age, I was getting raped by my older sister.
Mhm.
So, it was kind of tough because, like, I looked up to my sister
Mhm.
a lot. So, I used to want to do everything that she did. And I
Mhm.
felt like she knew, like, I'm not going to say like she took advantage of me being nice, but I
Mhm.
felt like that she kind of took advantage of me. And a lot of people say they got molested. I was also molested. I'll
Mhm.
talk about that later. But
Okay.
I say that I was raped by my sister because of the actual things that she made me do. It's
Mhm.
not, you get what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
she made me do things to her that
Mhm.
me being a child, you know.
Shouldn't have had no idea of those
Exactly.
things even existed.
Right.
And that was the same thing with the other young lady who came on who remembered things happening from the time that she was 3. She remembered incident with a male and a female. They were siblings that she and her family were living with, and they forced her to do things to them, and that shouldn't have been things that even crossed the path of a 3-year-old.
Right.
So, um, how do they keep you quiet?
Um, Honestly, it was my sister, and I really did not understand what was really going on.
Mhm.
So I felt like it was cool to keep a secret from my parents because I was the good child. My
Mhm.
parents were very protective. They never let us go anywhere. So,
Mhm.
of course, my mama would never think that it's going
Of
on
course.
in the house. You get what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Yep.
So it was kind of like, I don't understand. Like, I felt like I didn't want her to get in trouble. A
Mhm.
lot of things was running through my mind. Like, I started doing stuff like going to school, touching on people,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So it's just like I was thinking, like, did something happen to her? Like, why is she doing this
Mhm.
to me? And my sister would run away a lot too. So when she would just leave for long periods of time, I'd just be like, she gone, it's over with. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But when she come back, it's
It's the
just
same
like,
thing.
bam, she back. But I
Mhm.
was so like in love with my sister
Mhm.
because I just looked up to her. Like that's
Mhm.
my sister.
What's the
Like
age difference?
um right now she's 30.
Mhm. So she
So
was
yeah,
when you
she
were 4, she was 12.
yeah, facts.
Okay.
She was way older. You get what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it was kind of uncomfortable situation.
When did you realize that there was something wrong? Because you say you didn't realize it initially because you're just going along with your sister, and so when did you realize that something was wrong?
So there was a situation when I was a little girl where one of my cousins had asked me to pee on him, and I
Mhm.
had told my mom, and he had got in trouble for it. So when I had realized that he got in trouble for
Mhm.
doing it, that's when I started realizing like, damn, my sister not supposed to be doing this to
Mhm.
me. But
Oh wow.
you get what I'm saying? Like
How
she
old
not,
was that incident when you told on your cousin?
and I don't even remember what age I was.
Mhm.
I don't.
Okay. So about how much longer after that do you recall that you continued experiencing abuse then?
It was still going on after that, but probably I want to say probably like 2 3 months after
Okay.
that situation because my sister she was gone for a little bit, but she
Uh-huh.
ended up coming back. So
Uh-huh.
anytime she would come back.
Okay. Um, so was it how did the opportunity present itself for her to have access in that way? Because you live with different people in your home.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean like I could use this as an example. Like one day we were all in the kitchen, all of my siblings, because my mom got 4 kids. I have
Mm-hmm.
a brother and another sister.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister just told my other sister, she was like, I can make Kimmy do whatever I want her to do.
Oh.
And my sister was like, how? And she was like, watch this. And she was like, Kimmy, go upstairs. And that's how she would normally do me. Like when it
Mm-hmm.
was time for
Mm-hmm.
me to do something
Mm-hmm.
to her, she would just tell me, go
Mm-hmm.
upstairs or something. So I went upstairs and I waited and I waited and I waited and she never came up there. So I came back downstairs and I really was like, dang, like she have that much control over me.
Mm-hmm.
I really just sat upstairs
Mm-hmm.
over 30 minutes waiting on her
Mm-hmm.
to come up here But I
Mhm.
just thank God that she didn't, because
Right.
you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
The same thing would have happened.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
So you said several things that are relatable. My daughter, Kiera,
Mm-hmm.
she expressed that she was abused, molested when she was 5. She only told me this year. She's now 25. But she said one of the things that you said, which was that she began to go to school and she began to touch people, and she didn't know that anything was wrong with it
Yeah.
because it was happening to her. And then also another thing that you said was that it was a sibling abusing you. The young lady who is 3, her brother attempted to abuse her. He got caught before it happened, but she had already been abused by the other people in the home, a male and a female, who were way, way older, like 14 and 16. It was so sad.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine, he knew of a situation where he had a best friend, and his best friend, a male, um, expressed to him late in life. He was like 40 something.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I just need to tell you something. And when he came and told him what he had to tell him, it was really just telling him I'm gay, basically.
Okay.
And he was very out and flamboyant. And he was like, this is the real me. But what was underneath that was the fact that he was raped by his brother for years as a child. And the brother was the biggest homophobe. Um,
But
on
was
the
the
surface,
yeah.
but was abusing him in the same way that he shunned everybody else if they would ever do that. But that was his reality. So a lot of times people look at people on the surface as to how they behave now and what they are now, and they judge that on the surface. But they don't go beneath that to
And
see
see
why they're
exactly.
angry, why they're promiscuous, why they're on drugs, why you can't tell them nothing, why they don't trust people,
Right.
because there's something underneath that layer that you see that's probably not that hard to figure out if you really just ask the question.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what we're trying to get to, the place where we can actually have the conversation,
Right.
because it's taboo to say that, especially talking about a family. It's taboo to say something happened in my family that wasn't right. They're like, don't mess up our family name. Don't do that
Exactly.
to them. Don't mess up
That's
their
how a lot of
ability to
families are.
work. Don't mess up their ability to be free. Like, don't get them locked up. Like,
Exactly.
what do you mean? And then you become the bad person for having your truth to tell that they gave you to tell.
Exactly.
So you said there were issues. So you said it stopped a few months after the incident where you told on your cousin. So was there any change in behavior from your sister thinking that she would get caught at that point? Or was she still
No, because growing up, my sister was all over the place. Like,
mm-hmm,
she really didn't have a reason to act the way that she was acting. I just feel like basically my mom was married to my dad,
mm-hmm,
and it wasn't, you get what I'm saying, really
mm-hmm,
her dad. So I feel like she didn't have a connection with him,
mm-hmm,
and that's why she was acting out. But
mm-hmm,
I mean, my sister was just, she really didn't know what was going on in our lives, because she would just leave, come back, leave, come
mm-hmm,
back. So she probably didn't even, you get what I'm saying, know
mm-hmm,
about that situation, because I never brought it up to her. I never talked to her about, you get what I'm saying, none of my personal stuff.
mm-hmm. So when did you get to the point where it was the last time?
It's so crazy, because that's what I don't remember the last time
Mm-hmm,
at all.
mm-hmm,
Like, probably before my sister left for good, before she got pregnant.
mm-hmm,
Because anytime that my sister was there, it was going on. It wasn't
mm-hmm,
like she was not just at home not doing anything.
mm-hmm,
She was always doing something,
mm-hmm,
stealing, doing something. Like,
mm-hmm,
she was one of those. So
mm-hmm,
I mean, I guess when she left out of our life, that's when that left.
mm-hmm. Um, is she present in your life in any capacity now?
Yeah, she
Mm-hmm,
literally, she just was at my house 2 days ago. She just
mm-hmm.
apologized to me
Oh, really?
about the situation. That's crazy. Yeah.
So, how did the conversation come about where she felt the need to apologize and that she felt that it was the opportune time to?
I mean, I honestly feel like that me, I'm the type of person, I only spoke on it one time. When I was
Mm-hmm.
19, I told my parents what happened, and I left it there. She told my parents it wasn't true, and I left it there.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like God just been, you know what I'm saying?
Working on
God
her.
would deal with
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Like she came to my house. Her wife just passed away,
Mhm.
and I guess that got something to do with it. She probably going through it. I don't know.
Mhm.
But her wife passed away, and she just came, and she was just like, "I apologize if I ever hurt you in any kind of way." We didn't actually have a conversation
Mhm.
about
The
that because
the
that would
exact
be
thing.
very uncomfortable. Yeah, but
Uh-huh. But you knew what she was
she
saying.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you say that she had a wife. Do you think that part of the abuse had to deal with her trying to discover who she was, maybe? Because definitely back in that day, same sex wasn't as accepted
Right.
as it is now. And a lot of times people try to mask who they are, but still try to be who they are because they can't control or help it. Not that that gives them an excuse, but do you, in hindsight, feel like that had a role in it?
Um, I mean, I don't really know. I just feel like, finding yourself, you can find it with people your age. You get what I'm saying? You don't got to. You get what I'm saying? You
I
do.
do.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, so you said you told your mother when you were 19,
Mhm.
and why did you feel a need to come forward at that time? Because it's almost a decade since
Mhm. Yeah.
the abuse has stopped.
Because I got into a situation. I was dating this guy, and I mean, I feel like when I'm in a relationship, I'm kind of like too nice sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was dating a guy that will always bring up my flaws. And me, like, I'm a very intuitive person. Like, I can feel when people are like, it was kind of like a jealousy
Mm-hmm.
spirit. Like, people are trying to put you down to make themselves
Absolutely.
feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really realize it all the way because it was somebody that I really did like. So
Mm-hmm.
some of the stuff that he would be saying to me that was rude, I started to believe it. It was like
Mm-hmm.
my confidence started to go down. And it was this ninth grader, like she was just obsessed with me. And at this
Mm-hmm.
time, I was a senior,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm in 12th grade. It was a ninth grader. Everybody kept telling me about this girl, like she like you so much. And I've always, my whole life, I've had issues with girls or boys.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So, like, I started talking to a ninth grader, and her mom really didn't like that. Even after I graduated, like we still was talking. Her
Mm-hmm.
mom just did not like it, so she kind of like got in touch with my mom, like
Mm-hmm.
she need to leave my child alone, type
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I had my own car, my own money. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
basically, and her daughter's in ninth grade. Like it's very understandable. I can get where
Mm-hmm.
her mom was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt like it was time for me to tell my mom because my mom just don't she just did not understand like why do you want to
Mm-hmm.
like females? You're so pretty. Like
Mm-hmm.
why do you want to like
Mm-hmm.
females? And I just had to tell her like that's why like but
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like abuse in my family is not a big thing. They don't really do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Um, Unfortunately, others have shared the same view, and also what you just said. A lot of times people want to look at the surface. Oh, she likes girls, but they don't understand that there's a deeper core to that, where something has been implanted that
exactly.
put that in you, where maybe without that implant, it would not be there. So I think everybody walks their own journey. Of course, I believe in God, and I've done so much right and wrong in my life that I
Right.
tend not to judge everybody's right and wrong, and everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, I feel. And I think that our experiences set us up in some kind of way to help people in the future.
Yeah.
So, regardless of what it is. So, your mother's not understanding.
She's understanding, but
I'm
it's
talking
not.
about then.
Oh, uh, yeah, she wasn't.
Uh huh.
But I just feel like I don't really think that with the black community it's not them really being understanding. I just feel
Mm-hmm.
like that it's generations and generations of ways like people been taught. Like
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, and I assume that you were talking about ways to cover abuse and keep on
exactly.
moving.
Yeah.
So you don't really, yeah, you just brush it under the rug. Yeah, it happened, but nobody's ever going to admit it happened, and you should not admit it happened because that'll just cause
It'll
problems.
in the family get people to talking. Like I feel like that's what black families are more concerned about.
Yes,
Nobody been out
the
of their
image
business.
outside.
Yep.
Exactly. What goes on in this house stays in this house. I remember when I booked that when I got grown,
um,
and I have always been just a real person. I think that it is what it is a literal thing for me.
Right.
And so when I speak, it's probably just a is what it is. You know, whether it's favorable or not favorable, it is.
Yeah.
So how can you tell me to not acknowledge what is? So give me something else. If you don't like that, then replace it with something, with your behaviors, your actions, but don't tell me I can't tell the truth when the truth has presented itself.
Right.
And a lot of times and it's not just black families, because since I've started, I'm sorry that happened to you. Many people from many different backgrounds have come forward and said this exact thing has happened to me. And it primarily started out talking about physical abuse and sexual abuse. There are other abuses as well. Um, but a lot of times, like you were saying with the guy that you were dating, was it the guy that you were dating that was beating
Yeah.
you down?
Mm-hmm.
It starts at a verbal abuse
Exactly.
where they're testing you to see if they can get into those other abuses. And if they're successful on that level, then they take it a little further. And they take it a little further. And they take it a little further.
Okay.
So they're grooming you to take the abuse and to cover for them at the same time. So we have to be so in tune with our value, our self worth. It has to be an innate internal thing that we don't need anybody to validate. For us to put ourselves in the position where we know when we're not being valued and to get out. Because a lot of times we just want to be with somebody, like you said, you like them. I like them. And a lot of times, what abusers will do is they will show you all the things to fall in love with them about and then take it away. And then you're left there looking for all of that stuff that they introduced to you initially that's never coming back because they were grooming you to just be there for the abuse.
Right.
And have the hope that the other stuff is coming back, but it's never coming back because that's not who they are at the core. So when people show you stuff, believe them.
Right.
So how long did the situation go with and that turns into mental abuse very fast, emotional abuse.
Exactly. Now it's a whole bunch. Now you need to go see a counselor.
And I'm glad that you say that because a lot of times we need to go see a counselor anyway, just for our own wellness and just taking care of ourselves. So mental health is just as important as your physical health, your financial health, your social health. Like your mental health is right up there with all of those things. Your spiritual health. It's one of the key factors you need to have balanced in your life. So to go and talk to somebody professionally, and I believe in God counseling, church counseling, as well as professional counseling. So don't think that you're crazy just because you want to talk to somebody. That makes you very intelligent and in tune with yourself. So a lot of people like, I don't want them to talk about me. I'm going to see somebody. First off, if you're around a circle of people who will pick at you for getting help,
that ain't the people you need to be around.
Exactly. So, since you mentioned professional counseling, have you done any professional counseling?
Not at all.
Uh-huh. Why not?
I don't know. Like I always say I'm gonna do it, but I just never do it.
Well, I've been telling people I have a client and she's a manager at one of the wellness centers at Walmart. Okay. So Walmart just started this big thing where, and I don't really promote stuff, but for this purpose I do. But they offer counseling at Walmart. Right. I did not know. Exactly. And it's like $1 a minute. So you just go and get your $60 together and go do your counseling. Right. And you don't have to go through the stress of trying to insurance and all exactly. Of that stuff. Yeah. Exactly. So I say that is a great way to get started. Every counselor is not for every person. So you may have to go through some of the weeding out of seeing who you fit with when it comes to counseling. But everybody should do counseling. I did my first counseling when I was in my early 20s. I did not realize I needed counseling. I called myself taking a break from this corporate job I had. And one of the things that I had to do to get my benefits, which was get paid, was go to this outpatient counseling. So I went to the counseling and I got an evaluation on intake, and they came back and they said, "Oh, okay, so you're severely depressed." I was like, "Severely? Not just depressed,
Yeah.
severely." Like I had no idea that I was depressed at all. But what happened was once I started going to counseling, it really made things make sense. So I was like, "Oh, first off, I got to explore emotions." Like I had no idea what the emotions are. They're like, "How are you feeling today?" I'm like, "I don't know anything but happy or sad, and I
Yeah.
can only be happy because people say fix your face if you're sad." So to just go and get the help you need with addressing yourself and learning yourself and loving yourself through counseling is a great thing. So I always recommend that. And now Walmart has it, so you can check
I'll be
Walmart.
at Walmart.
Absolutely. Okay. So how do you get untangled from the emotional and mental abuse of the guy?
Oh,
Because it's hard. Once you get sucked
yes.
in and you really like them, you only hope for the best. You think it's going to turn around at any time. If you do this, then maybe they'll do that. Or go ahead.
But it's just like with me, like I'm the kind of person I'll leave, but I'll still come back later.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like I stopped dealing with him. I started messing with the ninth grader, and
Mm-hmm.
she made me happy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's obsessed with you, they
Mm-hmm.
gonna
Mm-hmm.
make you happy.
So the attention factor. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really worried about him. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because I was moving on.
Mm-hmm.
But then I ended up going back because I'm feeling like maybe I did something wrong. He was so
Mm-hmm.
heartbroken. You get what I'm saying? Because I just up and left. So I went back. And then when he started doing the same stuff, it's just like, no, like, this not it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the type of person, I don't like nobody else seeing me go through my problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll walk away from somebody with my head high, but I'll cry,
Mm-hmm.
like cry a lot. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it at home, like,
Mm-hmm.
or when it's time to go to sleep or something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I get over it. I don't really just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just have to move on. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Um, you said earlier that you were molested as well.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, many people are. I was for sure. My daughter says she was. Most people I know say
Yeah.
they were.
Molested, number one. It's
Right.
rare that you get
Right.
raped,
And it's
but
usually
molested.
somebody in the family or somebody who has close access. For my daughter, it was somebody at the babysitter's house. For me, it was family and a neighbor. And, so it happened. So, what was your situation with that? And we talk so candidly about this stuff because people think it can't happen to my people. It can't happen in my house. It
And
can't
they the
be
main
my
ones.
child.
Right.
Right. So, don't be oblivious to the fact that it can happen and it can be you and it can be yours. And a lot of times it has been you, and you're
And
still
you don't
acting
even
like
know. And they don't want to talk about it too.
exactly. Okay, so we're gonna talk more about that, but go ahead and what was your experience with being molested? About how old were you?
I actually don't remember the age. I just remember like my mom, she's always been the type of parent that she'll let everybody kids come to our house.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't go nowhere,
Right.
but they can all come to our
Mm-hmm.
house.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin, I really don't
Which
fool
is a method of protection.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't fool with my dad's side of the family like that because growing up, my aunties on my dad's side, they really didn't like my mama, and everybody know I don't play about my mama. So
And say don't play.
yeah, if you
Period.
don't like my mama, I don't like you.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
used to have issues. So I never really was close to them, but it was a cousin on my dad's side. My mom let them come over trying to be nice, you
Yeah.
know.
Trying to
'Cause
get you to bond with your family.
exactly. And my cousin came in the bathroom with me. I went in the bathroom, but we had a Jack and Jill bathroom where it was
Two
two
sides.
doors. Yeah. So he came in through the room door and he told me to pee on his hand. Like I was sitting on the toilet. He put his hands in the toilet, told me to pee on his hand. And I was just like, no. Like I was like, you gotta get out.
How old was he?
I was really young. That's
And
what
how
I'm
old was
saying. He was older. He was older than my brother. Like he's an older cousin.
Like almost a 10-year difference.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's an older cousin. We was nowhere near the same age. He was over there for my brother. So, and I didn't tell my brother or nothing. I told my mama, and he never came back around and stuff like that. But it's like I don't be knowing how I want my parents to react because I don't want them to overreact, and then I don't want them to underreact.
They have carrying permits. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So since all of that has happened to you,
Mm.
how do you think that that has shaped you as a person?
It has affected my life tremendously. Like my love life is just like I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. My love life is just not it. So I just
What's wrong
try
with
to
your love
focus
life?
on music. It's just like when somebody really, really likes me, I really
Hmm.
don't have time for it.
Hmm.
And
Do you feel like they are not going to add up? They're going to be disappointing. They're going to be hurtful, or do you have some preconceived notion as to it not working,
honestly, I'm just
or do you
looking.
don't trust yourself?
It's like I don't trust myself and I don't trust other people
Hmm.
because like I want to be in a committed relationship. I want to be faithful. I want to have a family. I want to have kids. But it's just like sometimes when I date females, like I'll take advantage of the situation of it being a female because I can have my way.
Hmm.
And with guys, like I've been broken down by one guy that I actually love. So it's
Hmm.
almost like when it comes to guys, I really don't open up. Like they really don't know the real me
Hmm.
because we don't get
To
connect
that
on that
level.
level. Yeah,
Hmm. So you keep it real surface with the guy, so they don't
exactly.
have access to hurt you.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Because like I'm not like I learned like I would be the type of person that if I meet a person, everything is right, we vibe, I'll be in a relationship with that person because I'm like, that's
Hmm.
God. He's
Hmm.
sending me somebody.
Hmm.
But what I learned over the years is that some people are a sign from God and some people are literally just a test. Like you
Hmm.
cannot fuck with them type shit.
Hmm.
So it's just like I'm starting to learn myself more. Like I lie a lot
Hmm.
in relationships. Growing up, that was a big problem for me. Like it could just be like,
Well, most people won't even admit to that, but keep going.
yeah, but in relationships, that's been my biggest problem because every time I've expressed my real feelings to a guy, well, I'm talking about one specific
Okay.
guy. If I express my feelings to him, he make me feel like I'm either doing too much, I'm
Hmm.
crazy, or I'm just overreacting. So I always like play it cool. Like I'll
Hmm.
lie and tell somebody I'm good before I actually speak up and say I'm not good because I don't want to feel like I'm overreacting or I'm doing too much.
So that make you feel like you're a drama queen if you have an issue.
Exactly. Right.
So that teaches you not to address things in real time, and then they keep on doing that very thing that's causing the issue,
And
and you have to act like it's not an issue because you didn't say it when it was first the issue.
exactly. And that's why I don't open up. Because I'll know when it's time for me to open up to somebody. It's like when I'm just meeting people, going on dates with them,
Hmm.
getting my free food and
Hmm.
living life,
Hmm.
like
You're young,
I
so
really,
yeah.
yeah, like I
Hmm.
don't have people come in my life, just to see what's going on. And then the moment that they got the chance, they throw it all in my face, like want to tell me
Hmm.
my business. And
Hmm.
I literally just had a situation like that
Okay.
where I was cool with a female, me and her was kicking it, talking, and I just stopped talking to her out of nowhere because I just knew that that wasn't the person for me. Like I was just like,
So you just had a feeling it wasn't right.
yeah,
Hmm.
it wasn't for me. So I stopped talking to her. And the moment that I stopped responding to her, that's why you was having sex with your sister. And we're literally like,
You know
you get
what?
what I'm saying?
I
Like,
do. Somebody else who was a guest shared something similar to that, where their boyfriend was the only person who knew they had gotten raped by somebody at the church. And when she got into a situation where she was arguing with the boyfriend, he threw it all in her face.
yeah,
Like,
through everything. And I was
right,
just
and that was
like,
her only support for that. He was the only one who knew. Aside from her best friend she told years and years ago too. But yeah, so that really teaches you that you can't trust people.
exactly, exactly.
Unfortunately. However, I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned in life, and I wish I had learned it younger, is that what most people do has nothing to do with you.
It has something to do with them.
Exactly.
And
And so we take it personally until we get to that place of maturity where we're like trying to own some of the responsibility for them being them and them doing the things they do in the ways that they do it when it has nothing to do with us.
yeah.
So, do you feel like you took on any other responsibility for any of these things that have happened to you instead of letting it be? That's just who they are.
Um, I feel like I take on all of it. Yeah. I've never really just sat back and said, that's just who they are. Like, I always feel like they did it to me, for a
Mhm.
reason. Because my mama had 4 kids. What she choose me for? I give
Mhm. Mhm. Right.
I'm joking, but I'm
No,
being
no, that's for
serious.
real. That's really for real.
So,
Out of all the people you had access to, me,
exactly.
and it seems like sometimes that stuff just keeps happening and keep happening and it's you again. You
What did I
like
do? Like,
right,
yeah.
right. I was actually looking at a podcast earlier this week,
Mhm.
and the young lady was saying pretty much the same thing. She was like, my life was a living hell from the time of 8 to like 16 or something like that. And then at some point, it's like the skies opened up for me. And it's like, since I went through all of this, now maybe I get to have a little sprinkle of something good, you know? So, do you feel like you're getting to a place where those dark clouds are moving away and you can see some positive things happening and a bright future and all of those things? Because it's hard to see past a dark place. I've been in a dark
Exactly.
place. I was severely depressed,
Yeah.
which made me homicidal and suicidal. So it's a wonder
Yep.
that a lot of people are still living because I could have took some people out for real, for
Exactly.
real. So you've been homicidal or suicidal
I've been
before?
suicidal. I've never been homicidal before, but
Hmm.
yeah.
About what age? Because people don't think that that can happen when someone is young. They think it has to be somebody old. But I was very young
I was
teenager.
very young too. I used to want to commit suicide because of just simple things like I just feel like I don't know like do you know what star seed is?
No.
Okay, so
What is it? Tell me.
it's really just like a chosen one. Like
Hmm.
people, you know how God choose certain people,
Yeah.
get them certain missions.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
just
I think
like
somebody was just talking about that this week. So I don't use that term, but yes.
yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
So it's just like ever since I was a little girl, I always knew that I had a calling
Hmm.
to do music, but it's just like things will always happen. Like
Hmm.
every school I went to, because I was the new girl a lot. Females always hated me. They didn't even
Cause
know
you're a pretty
me.
girl.
But it's
Yeah.
just it's hard when you
Hmm.
trying to go to schools and you
You're
you
just
want to
trying to be a
be
young girl and they
just
want to
want to
have
be
fun,
cool.
have friends, and
And then I'm
everybody
going through
hating
stuff at home.
that nobody knows about.
So
Hmm.
everybody, making fun of me or how I feel or how I want to do things. It was just little stuff. Like I had a gap. It was just a lot of stuff that puts on top of it because you're
Hmm.
already going through what you're going
Hmm.
through
I
at
had a
home.
gap too. I love my gap.
Yeah.
I just,
And I love mine,
yeah.
but everybody used to be like,
Yeah.
no, you get what I'm saying? They always had something to say. I used to have a shape. Everybody used to be like,
Hmm.
it's fake.
Hmm.
It just used to be a
Kimmy
lot.
on shaped like a grown woman at probably 12. So I had a best friend who was like that too,
Yeah.
where everybody be like, "Oh, she is so fine," and they'll tell me, "You'll be so fine when you grow up." I was like, "I want to be fine now."
Yeah.
Like, so
Exactly.
my girlfriend was you,
Yeah.
and I was the one that was gonna be fine when I grew up. They were right, but
Yeah. They were right.
but anyhow, okay. So how hard is it? Talk to somebody who's young right now.
Okay.
How hard is it for you to cover up as opposed to release what's actually going on? Because there's a lot of work that goes into the cover up.
It is so hard to cover it up. I wish at a young age I would have just said something the first time because my life could be so much easier. All of those nights crying, all of those, discussions by myself, beating myself up, and blaming other people around me for really, you get what I'm saying, not helping me, but I'm not speaking up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to be so mad at my mom because she didn't want me to be gay. I'm like, your daughter did this to me,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
how can I blame her?
She didn't
Like
know.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So why just take yourself through that? That's just stress. And stress, that's what made me lose a lot of weight. Stress was just eating me alive
Mm-hmm.
because I'm taking on a toll. And just like you said, when you really realize that people issues have everything to do with them,
Mm-hmm.
you'll let it go. Because I was still dealing with my boyfriend situation, like, and I really don't date a lot of people. So when I
Mm-hmm.
do date, I be attached to them. Even if I walk away from them, I still can be in love with them and just walk away for
Mm-hmm.
my own good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just feel like you should speak up ASAP because
Mm-hmm.
it's too much tears and stress behind it.
Yeah, and We're gonna go back to the stress because you had mentioned that you lost weight behind the stress. There are a lot of negative results that come from
Yeah.
stress. Literally will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But well, let's talk about it now. So recently,
Mm-hmm.
you had Kimyon is very open. Like she acts like she ain't open with something, but Kimyon is very open. Cause a lot of the stuff that I know about Kimyon, we don't talk, right?
Right.
I
No,
know
we don't
because I
talk.
follow her social media, and Kimyon will say whatever it is. So Kimyon had an experience where people were giving her some backlash about weight loss,
Um,
and so address that.
okay, you guys. So your girl used to be about 145, and I was in high school, you know? And I was still okay. So y'all, I told y'all I went back to that relationship. This is around the time I went back.
When
So
did you go back?
after I graduated high
Mm-hmm.
school, so everything is going great for me. I graduated high school. This is at the peak of my career. I'm doing different shows at
Mm-hmm.
different high schools. You know, everything is going good. And I got back with the guy, and I honestly feel like he only came back around because
To see if he could and to see if he can control and hurt.
exactly
Mm-hmm.
because he like she doing good without me type shit. So
Mm-hmm.
I got back with him, and at this time he does music too. So he's really good at what he do. He make beats.
Mm-hmm.
So our relationship was going good, whatever the case may be, but he would just say little stuff to like offend me. Like it started off with little small stuff when we got back together because when we were in high school it was way worse. Like it would get to the point to where he would say stuff like, oh, we shot a video at a mansion today. It's bigger than your parents' house. Like, and I would
Just
be
to try to
like,
break you down.
and I'll be like,
Yeah.
compare it to your parents' house. My parents' house straight. Like my
Right.
parents,
They're good.
my parents
Been
always
good.
been good.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, compare it to your
So
situation.
that jealousy spirit that you were speaking of.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So when I just started feel that come back around, he'll come back around, ask me like, how you doing this? How you making your money? He would just say stuff like, girl, we gotta get your teeth done. You need to get your body done. It just was a lot of shit that I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, I can't put up with this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but he is successful, he's good in the music game and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't
And
like
talk
the way he
about
treat
that
me.
because a lot of people will conform for fame,
Mm-hmm.
for the access to somebody with an opportunity for fame. Not even you gonna get it. It's just somebody with access who could say yeah or nay or help you or not help you. But a lot of times, if they're that type of person, they're just there for themselves.
Yeah, definitely he's there for himself. And I wish I would have just thought more into that because I'm the type of person I focus on my career, but I also whoever I'm dating, I focus on whatever they got
Mm-hmm.
going on too cuz that's just me. I'm a very encouraging person. I always try to encourage him,
Mm-hmm.
because he's very good at what he do.
Mm-hmm.
And
But instead of him telling you how great you are, he gonna tell you what needs to be better.
exactly. He gonna tell me why you do that, or I
Mm-hmm.
don't like this song. Like he'll never give me no compliment,
Mm-hmm.
but other people will
Listen, people,
compliment
cause
me.
she giving y'all some little jewels right
Yeah.
here. Cause some of y'all with some people like this right now, and you thinking that it's gonna change, and it's not. So, how does that lead to you losing weight?
Because basically, like I gave a lot of time and energy to the situation. And at the time when I first graduated high school, I was by myself. So I was only focusing on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got back with him, just me spending a lot of time with him, I wasn't really going to the shop like that. It would be
Mm-hmm.
times where I have clients, I miss clients,
For
just to
him.
be with him.
Mm-hmm.
So my clientele started going down. I'm chilling with him all the time. It's just my money flow started getting low, but I wasn't really noticing it because
Mm-hmm.
he's taking care of me
Mm-hmm.
because he
Mm-hmm.
just got signed. He
Mm-hmm.
just got a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So we focusing on his shit. You get what I'm saying? He doing good or whatever the case may be. And I'm telling him, like, in my head, I'm thinking like, what is going on with him? Like, money is really changing him. But
Mm-hmm.
on the outside, I'm not really saying nothing to him because you can't really force nobody to help you. Like, I feel like wherever somebody is in their life, they got their self there. So I don't really feel like he owed me anything.
However, if he's for you, it would have been
He
nothing for
would.
him to put you right there with him.
But some
Hmm.
people want you to do good, but they know that you can be better than them,
Oh,
so
I've
they
experienced
don't.
that my whole life, so I know
So they
exactly what
don't
you're
want to
talking
help
about.
you
Hmm.
because they know that you gonna take off.
Right, and they'll brag about you to other people, but when
But
they
they
get
won't
to
in front of
you,
you. They're gonna say
yeah,
all the negative shit.
absolutely.
You can live in a big ass house and they can pull up to your shit and be like, "Why you get a red house? Why you get it red?"
Right, it's a nice
Like
house.
it's always
They
gonna
won't
be
say that your
something.
house is nice. It's a problem with the
Yeah,
house.
it's the now it's the color. Then
Yeah,
they gonna go to Shaquisha and be like, "Her
in the
house would
hood.
be right. Her
Hmm.
house would look better than yours." I'm
Right.
already
To just
know.
try to break you down in some kind of way, especially if you're self-sustained in your happiness and not dependent on them. They want you to be codependent because that's the way that they can control
Yeah.
and manipulate and make you miserable so that you can be under their thumb forever, thinking nobody else wants you or you're not good enough for anything else, or you can never make it without them, which is absolutely false. The point is they know that you can, and they're trying to get it where you don't know that you can.
Right.
So, um, talk to the parents out here. My daughter told me, she said, if you had said what had happened to you straight up when I was younger and just been real transparent about the stuff that you've gone through abuse in an abusive nature, then I probably would have come forward sooner. Talk to the parents about how important it is to have real conversations, not about everybody else, but about yourself with your children.
And see, that's another thing, man. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, I really don't feel like that conversations help because, like, as a child, my mama always talked to me. My mama always asked me, anybody touching you,
Mm-hmm.
anybody. I just was always scared to tell my mom anything. I just felt like it was cool, not that. I just feel like it's normalized for kids to feel like your parent is the one person that should not know.
Mm-hmm.
You get what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what
They'll
my
tell
daughter was
another
saying.
adult.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell another adult about what they're going through before they'll tell their own parents. I just don't know what it is with that. Like I feel like that's the problem right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even just about molestation or just being raped. It's about us actually being able to connect with our parents
Mm-hmm.
and be able to tell them the truth. Cause
Yeah. My daughter said because I didn't tell her my truth, then she didn't feel like it was
exactly.
room for her to tell her truth. She just was not comfortable coming to me in that way. Although I did
Yeah.
the same things that your mother did, like anybody
Try
touch
to
you
talk,
and
and then it
yeah.
makes you feel uncomfortable because they asking you about it, and I'm just like, dang, but it's happening. It's very confusing. I feel like that you should continue to have conversations with your kids, but I can't 100% say go and have a conversation with your child and you'll know if they're being
Yeah.
touched. You get what
But
I'm
just
saying?
tell your child that you were touched and
Yeah,
maybe they will be like, well,
right.
dang, me
And
too.
and I
Okay.
think that's the hard thing for parents who haven't been through nothing like that. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
for them to know
Mm-hmm.
how to help their child.
That's true. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's all I was saying.
That's true. If you don't have any experience in something, then it's really hard to relate to somebody who has
Exactly.
that experience. However, if you have had the experience but are not willing to share the experience, then it leads people to think that something wrong with them. It's just me. It didn't happen to anybody else. So I can't share this because nobody else would relate. It's only me because they're left to feel alone and like it's just them if nobody ever says it was me.
Right.
It was me at the hands of somebody that was really close to me. It was my sister. It was my brother. It was my dad. It was my uncle. It was my cousin. It was my neighbor. It was my
Yep.
teacher. It was my doctor. It was
And
my
they
pastor.
parents
It was my
didn't do
deacon.
anything, so that's why they
Exactly.
don't do nothing to you. Cause that's why I said it's
Pushed under
generations
the
of
rug.
generations.
Yeah. One of the young lady, my daughter shared that she had gone over somebody's, a friend of hers had gone over somebody's house in high school that had a party. And I was like, your mother, she can't go anywhere. She can do the day stuff and you coming home.
Right.
So, one of the people who stayed over for the sleepover said that the grandfather in the house, and this is why she got company. The girls in high school has company. Grandfather comes in, get the girl in the middle of the night out of the bed, takes her with him, and brings her back with company and with the mama in the house. So, as you were saying,
That's
it's
crazy.
probably generational. Well, mama definitely knows what's going on.
Right.
Because for you to be bold enough to do something like that with company in the house, it's been happening and you've been getting away
Right.
with it and you getting bolder and bolder and bolder and bolder.
I remember being a child. I used to get whoopings just from sitting on my granddaddy lap. My
Oh,
mama did
absolutely.
not play that.
Yeah.
I see my granddaddy. Hey, granddaddy, go and sit on his lap.
Nope.
My mama be like,
Yep.
get right on down. So
Exactly.
I already knew my mama wasn't going for it. And then I just felt like she would make a big old scene. Her and my sister was already going through hell. I'm just
Mhm.
like, let me just stay out of this. Because I
Mhm.
knew my mama was stressed. Like, she worked every day,
Mhm.
plus my sister. And she never really did anything
And
for my
nobody
sister.
really
I had
knows
no
what's going on with people beyond the surface.
Yeah.
You know, you see people in their capacity outside of the house and you think that they look fine. And most people do. However, just because you look fine doesn't mean that you are fine and that you're not experiencing some kind of adversity.
Right.
Adversity hits us all in some kind of form or fashion. My adversity may not be your adversity may not be my adversity, but people are always going through something. So you have to look upon it in a manner of caution. How you deal with people. You don't know how fragile they are just because they look like they're okay.
Right.
You know, like I said, I was homicidal and suicidal. I could have took you out, and I was just as like looking just as cute as you are, and could have took some people out,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't even cared. I was in that dark of a place. So, do you think that you've had experiences with depression?
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like around the time I was losing my weight, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I jumped into another relationship right after that relationship. And the person was really making me happy, but I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with my situation.
Mm-hmm.
I had just got off this relationship where basically he was giving me everything that I wanted, but mentally I wasn't, right. So being with somebody who really made me happy and stuff, like I didn't know how to take that because I'm like, what is it? Like, it's got to be a catch to this.
You're waiting on the downfall. Like they didn't do anything, but based on everything you experienced from everybody else, there's something wrong with you. I'm just waiting on it.
Here
Yeah. So you're not gonna catch me this time, and it'd be
Yep.
the time that you should feel safe and secure because nobody's done anything and they're not going to do anything. But because of all of the other experiences, you're like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So go
So
ahead.
that turned me into, I started lying in my relationship. Not really gonna say I cheated because I'm the type of person I'll break up with you
Yeah.
and then go do it.
Right, right.
So
So
yeah.
explain the lying piece though, because a lot of people, like I said, would not admit to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's very transparent and bold to say, because somebody's looking right now, is like, I knew she was lying.
Oh, I'm dead. Yeah.
So it's like, I knew she was lying. So how does that come about when you're just so what age do you start lying?
Okay. I started lying around the time that I was dealing with my abuse. Because I started
young.
acting out, period. Yeah, like around I'm gonna say like 5, 6.
Okay, acting out in what ways?
Like at school, like I talked back to teachers,
Mm-hmm.
but it was something about me. Like I was always so smart, but I had a smart mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So I will always have this love-hate relationship with every teacher.
Because they knew your potential.
Yeah.
But girl, sit down.
Right? They could feel something else is going on, but they just don't know.
Exactly.
And that's why I always wanted to be a teacher ever since I was a little girl, because you can tell when
somebody's going through something.
They really is gifted. They really got it, but it's what's going on at home is stopping them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, my teachers could tell. I had a lot of teachers that would spare me. I would always be getting smart. Girls hated me before I could even do anything. Like I just used to dress nice. They'll say stuff about it, all of that stuff. So just going through a lot of people not liking me, it started just making me not like myself. I started lying a lot, talking back to my teachers, just doing a typical.
What's a typical lie? Like, is it from the smallest thing? Because I know somebody who will lie about anything. I'm like, that wasn't even a lie that need to be told. Oh, you want to know? I'm like, that wasn't even a lie that needed to be told. Nobody even asked for that lie.
Like report cards to come out of something, I'll sign my mama name on it or something, like just those kind of like
those things.
My mama would ask like, where your report card? We never got it. Stuff like that. If I did something, like I was never like, I never stole I never did no crazy shit like that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was not a child. I was never bold enough. My dad is a
Mm-hmm.
police officer, by the
Mm-hmm.
way. So
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never want to like do nothing like that. But
Mm-hmm.
when it come to lying, when I'm in a relationship, I had like in that relationship after him,
Mm-hmm.
because he started lying to me, so I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
took that anger out on my next
Mm-hmm.
relationship. Because everything that he was doing to me, I started doing
Mm-hmm.
to the
Mm-hmm.
female that I was dating. Like even when it would be like I would get mad to the point to where I would say stuff to hurt her feelings, and I'd be like, "Damn, like what
Intentionally.
am I turning into?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like just saying stuff like on
Just
purpose.
being reckless.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
After after that relationship, that really kind of like started making me notice, like, damn, I'm really turning into a fucked up person. I
Mm-hmm.
would lie just about my whereabouts, like.
Mm-hmm.
I could be like going on a date with somebody, free food. I
Yeah.
really don't like that ass. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's free food, but I would not want to tell the girl that I was dating because I know she gonna have a problem with it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just
Of
like
course.
I'm at the studio.
So yeah. So where do you feel like you are with your growth and overcoming what you've been through and becoming who you want to be or who you think that God has purposed you to be? Because you said the star seed,
Yeah.
so you have purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you feel you're lining up with where you come from to where you know you should be?
I feel like God is actually just giving me the life that I prayed for. I'm able to be honest with myself a lot more, and I can look in the mirror and just accept my flaws. Like, I really don't have to lie no more because I just say how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I keep that boundary to even when I'm talking to guys, I really don't let them get in. You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I just keep it on that
Mm-hmm.
level.
I used to be a liar too. I gave it up in my early 20s. It was just too much work.
Yeah,
You
because you
know,
gotta remember them, and then you
yeah.
gotta back that
It was
motherfucker up.
I don't know who I told what to, and you trying to piece it together, and then you done added another piece of the story over here that wasn't over there, and you don't know who got what parts of the story. So at a certain point in my early 20s, I said I'm just not lying anymore. Like everybody grown, what's the worst gonna happen? I'm gonna get a whipping.
Right.
You know that's not gonna happen. So to an extent, I can understand the lying. I don't know why I did it as opposed to just not feeling like I could communicate. I
Exactly.
didn't grow up in a environment where I learned good communication skills. So I just only said what I thought people wanted to hear probably
Yeah.
and maneuvered how I wanted to maneuver saying what they wanted to hear.
Right.
But at that point in my early 20s, I was like, you know what? This is just too much work. I don't even have to do this. And I'm the type of person I will break up with you before I cheat and stuff like
Yep.
that. So it really wasn't even any point to lying because,
But we just did it anyways. It's
yeah.
just like
So,
I
yeah,
don't know.
I had to mature into and now I'm just so straightforward
Yeah.
that it's
If I
like,
can't tell you how I really felt, I don't need to talk to you. So lying, when you get to a certain point, you just realize like I'm stressing myself out for nothing.
absolutely.
When you
Yeah, it
just
wasn't even
lie
a point to it. Like, why? Like, it wasn't a point to lie. So, yeah, I'm glad you're at the end phase of the lying.
right. I had to
So,
become vocal because my dad growing up was so strict. He was in the
uh-huh,
military, so
uh-huh,
all he did was scream and yell. I
uh-huh,
used to always be afraid to speak up
mm-hmm,
and say anything because my dad was so fucking strict.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
it's like I feel like that's why I'd rather lie than
mm-hmm,
because I would lie to my dad all the time.
mm-hmm.
Did you eat my last? Mm-mm.
No,
Oh,
and
just
you
so
know
you
you
can leave me
did.
alone,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I just had to stop feeling like that people can control my life just
Mm-hmm.
from me telling them the truth. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll protect people's feelings by lying. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not even for me sometimes. Like it just be because you don't want to know
Yeah,
the truth, baby.
absolutely. Okay. So, how's your relationship with your dad
It's like
after
the
finding
older
out
that I
everything?
get,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the older that I get, the better. My dad is more cool and laid back now that we're older. His kids are older, so
Yeah.
he's
Okay.
like very understanding. I can talk to him about a lot of stuff.
Wonderful. Okay. Last bit of advice. I want you to give that to people who have experienced some trauma
Mm-hmm.
and they're at a phase in their life where it happened a long time ago, but they're still living with the secret.
I just say speak up. That's really all that you can do. You can't really change what happens to you, but you can change how you deal with it. You can't really just it's not really good to hold it in. Just get it out, because once you speak on it, it's just better. Like, you don't gotta cry, you don't gotta stress. So just speak about it. That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. I'm sorry that happened to you on K.T.Y Live today, Kimmy. And tell us how we can follow you online and what you have going on.
My Instagram is KEYMEION. My name is Kimion. And my birthday is August 1st. I'll be dropping a project, so
Nice.
y'all stay tuned. Yeah.
Okay. Follow her online. You can follow me online at Catherine Yancey, Ms. MZ.KDY on Instagram and other social media. And I'll see you next time on Disco 100 Radio for KDY Live.